Hola a todos y bienvenidos a nuestro podcast. Today, we're diving into something super fundamental, but often overlooked in its nuances Spanish greetings. I mean, we all know hola, right? But there's so much more to it.
Absolutely, Wesley. It's like the first handshake of a conversation. Getting it right, or at least understanding the basics, really sets the tone. And let's be honest, nothing makes you feel more connected than being able to greet someone naturally in their language.
Totally. And I think a lot of people just stick to hola and maybe adios and feel like that's enough, which, sure, it'll get you by, but you're missing out on a whole spectrum of expressions that can make you sound so much more fluent and respectful.
Exactly. Let's start with the absolute basics beyond hola. We have buenos dias, buenas tardes, and buenas noches. These are your good mornings, good afternoons, and good evenings nights. And they're pretty straightforward, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Buenos dias is typically used until noon or so. Then buenas tardes kicks in and goes until dusk or maybe early evening, and buenas noches takes over after that. What's interesting is how buenas noches can also be used for good night when you're leaving or going to bed, unlike English where good evening is distinct from good night.
Wow. That's a great point. It's versatile. You can walk into a restaurant at 8 p.m. and say buenas noches, and you can leave at 10 p.m. and say buenas noches. It works for both. It's all about context.
And it's not just about the time of day, but also about the level of formality, right? Hola is super casual, works for pretty much anyone. But buenos dias feels a little more, I don't know, polished? Formal?
Yeah, definitely. Hola is your universal Swiss Army knife. You can use it with friends, strangers, kids, your boss. But buenos dias or buenas tardes has a bit more gravity. You'd typically use them when entering a shop, addressing an elder, or in a more formal setting. Though it's not like you'd be rude saying hola in those situations, it's just a subtle difference.
So, once you've said hello, the next natural step is to ask, how are you? Which opens up another set of options. The classic, of course, is ¿Cómo estás?
Precisely. Como estás is the direct translation and widely understood. But then you have the informal ¿qué tal?, which is super common, especially in Spain. It's like saying what's up or how's it going.
I love ¿Qué tal? It's so fluid. And then there's ¿Qué pasa?, which is even more casual, like what's happening or what's up. You definitely wouldn't say ¿Qué pasa?, to your new boss or a stranger on the street, unless you're trying to be funny.
Haha, no, probably not. That's a good distinction. ¿Qué pasa? Is definitely for close friends or people you know really well. And then, for the more formal situations when you're addressing someone with respect, perhaps an elder or someone you don't know well, you'd use ¿Cómo está usted?
Ah, the to versus usted distinction. That's a huge one for learners and it's not always intuitive. Can you break that down a bit for us, Emilio?
Sure. Tu is the informal you, used for friends, family, children, and generally people your age or younger. Usted is the formal you, used for elders, people in positions of authority, or when you want to show respect. It's a bit like the difference between thou and you in Old English, but less dramatic. In Latin America, usted is sometimes used more broadly, even with people you'd typically use tú with in Spain, depending on the region and specific social norms.
That's super helpful. So, if you're ever in doubt, usted is usually the safer bet to avoid accidentally being disrespectful, right?
Exactly. When in doubt, go formal. Better to be overly polite than underpolite. But most people are pretty forgiving when they know you're learning.
Okay, so we've greeted, we've asked how someone is, now for the responses. The simplest and most common is bien, gracias, or muy bien, gracias.
Bien, gracias.
Good, thank you. Muy bien, gracias. Very good, thank you. You can't go wrong with those. But what if you're not doing so well? You don't want to lie.
Right, so you could say más o menos, which means more or less, or so-so, or así así, which is another way to say so-so. Sometimes you'll hear no muy bien, not very good.
And it's polite to always follow up with y tú or y usted, meaning and you, after you've answered. It keeps the conversation flowing and shows you're engaged.
That's a key conversational element often missed by beginners. It's not just about knowing the words, but also the rhythm of the interaction. You answer, then you bounce it back.
Exactly. It's like ping pong. Don't just catch the ball, hit it back. Now, let's talk about some other ways to initiate conversation, or rather, acknowledge someone's presence.
Like when you bump into someone unexpectedly or see a friend across the street?
Precisely. You might hear "que hay," literally what is there, but meaning what's up, or what's new. Or sometimes, especially in certain regions, just hombre, or mujer, when talking to a close friend. It's like man or woman, but in a friendly, familiar way.
That's interesting, I've heard that. It sounds super local and warm. I guess the takeaway here is that while hola is good, adding a buenos dias or a que tal shows a level of comfort and understanding beyond the absolute basics.
Definitely. It shows you're making an effort to connect on a deeper level. And speaking of connecting, let's move on to farewells. Just like greetings, there's more than just adios.
Ah yes, adios is the universal standard, but it can sometimes feel a bit final, almost like goodbye forever depending on the context. What are some alternatives?
You're right, Wesley. Adios can feel a bit heavy sometimes. For more casual and temporary farewells, we have hasta luego, which means see you later. This is super common and can be used even if you're not sure you'll see the person again soon. It's just a nice way to say bye for now.
I use hasta luego all the time, it feels less dramatic. And then there's hasta mañana for see you tomorrow, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Exactly. And if you know you'll see them at a specific time, you can say hasta el lunes, see you Monday, or hasta la próxima, see you next time. The hasta construction is really useful. It implies a until or up to a certain point.
So, if I'm leaving a store and I'll probably never see the cashier again, is hasta luego still appropriate? Or should I just stick with adioses?
Either works, honestly. Hasta luego is perfectly fine, it's just a polite way to say goodbye without implying finality. Think of it as I'm off, bye. Adios is also perfectly acceptable. It often comes down to personal preference or regional custom. In some places, hasta luego is just the default.
Okay, got it. What about nos vemos?
Nos vemos means we see each other, or more naturally, see ya. It's very casual, very common among friends and family, definitely for when you have an expectation of seeing them again, but not necessarily at a specific time. It's a warm, friendly farewell.
So, to recap, if you're feeling formal or unsure, adios is safe, but hasta luego is a great, less final option, and nos vemos is for when you're really chummy.
Perfect summary. And don't forget, cuídate, which means take care. That's a lovely addition to any farewell, especially if you care about the person. It can be used formally or informally.
Oh, I love that one. It adds a really nice touch, like you actually mean it. So, we've covered the main greetings, how to ask how someone is, how to respond, and how to say goodbye. Any common pitfalls or interesting cultural notes we should mention?
One thing that comes to mind is the nonverbal aspect. In many Spanish-speaking cultures, physical greetings are very common. A kiss on each cheek or one, depending on the region, for friends and family, and sometimes even acquaintances, especially between women, or a woman and a man. Men usually shake hands, but a warm embrace, an abrazo, is very common among close male friends.
That's huge, actually. Coming from a culture where a handshake is often the most physical interaction, the cheek kiss can be a surprise. My advice is usually to observe what others are doing and follow their lead, right?
Exactly. Observe, and if someone leans in for a beso, a kiss, just go with it. Don't be shy, it's a sign of warmth and friendliness. No tongue, obviously, just a light touch of cheeks and a kissing sound. It's quite lovely, actually, once you get used to it.
Haha, good clarification on the no tongue part. So, let's say someone is just starting out, what's one greeting and one farewell they should absolutely master first?
For greeting, definitely hola, ¿cómo estás? And for farewell, hasta luego. Those two will serve you incredibly well in almost any casual interaction. And remember to practice.
Practice, practice, practice. Even if it's just practicing in front of a mirror or with a language app, the more you say these phrases, the more natural they'll feel. And don't be afraid to mess up, that's how we learn.
Exactly. The goal isn't perfection, it's communication. And making an effort goes a long way. People appreciate it.
Definitely. So, next time you're greeting someone in Spanish, think beyond just hola. Try buenos dias or que tal, experiment with hasta luego or nos vemos when you say goodbye. You'll be surprised how much more confident and connected you feel.
And remember, these aren't just words, they're cultural entry points. Each greeting carries a little piece of the Spanish-speaking world with it. Embrace them.
What a great way to put it, Emilio. This has been super insightful. Thank you for sharing all these fantastic tips.
My pleasure, Wesley. Always a good time talking about language with you.
Alright everyone, that's all for today's episode of Learn Spanish Like I Did. We hope this helps you feel more confident in your Spanish greetings. Keep practicing, keep learning, and until next time.
Adiós.
Hasta luego, amigos. Cuídense mucho.